Hi everyone, hola todos y todas. I'm Pascal Clarysse, CEO and founder of Big Karma, originally from Belgium, but tuning in from Colombia, Pereira to be precise, to deliver today a session which we call Colombia's next popular export, digital entertainment. Like I said, I'm originally from Belgium, but I moved here in 2015 and fell in love with the country. I started my career in video games at age 20 in 1998 at the beginning of the internet, and quickly moved to Hong Kong, then to other countries, Los Angeles, before finally establishing for family reasons in Colombia and calling it my home. That would be 2015. First time though I was here was in 2010, where there was no digital transformation, so work from home, which is actually the way I lived since 2007, was a little bit difficult. I've been serving as a remote consultant for companies like Seriously, Ubisoft, Zara, yada, 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 and I needed a strong internet to do this. And since 2015, I found that the ecosystem was more ready for this. Maybe it was earlier, don't quote me on the date, that's just when I came back and found it was possible. And I've been living the dream ever since. Now, as an entrepreneur, the eye-opening moment for me about the vibrant digital entertainment scene here in Colombia was in 2017, 2018, the first times I visited Colombia 4.0, which is a local event, big event actually, drawing consumers and professionals from music, entertainment, animation, video games, all into a huge expo in Colombia. And I gave a couple of talks there and was fascinated by the high attendance in the room and by how hungry and curious and full of questions the attendance was compared to other more jaded part of the world where I've been giving conferences. I started talking to some of these people, and yeah, one thing led to another. I myself am doing business over here, and I'll get to that in a moment. But before that, I'd like to talk a little bit about how this explosion of creativity, this new generation here in Colombia, is influencing the rest of the world in the global scene and the international scene and global pop culture. You may already be familiar with some of the exports from Colombia, bananas or coffee, for example. But you may have enjoyed more Colombian products without even you knowing as of late. The first and prime example is easy. It's the music scene. Who listening here has never heard of J Balvin, like it or hate it? You hear a lot of reggaeton as of late. Well, he's from Colombia originally, but more as is Karol G, which has done a multi-billion views video with Nicki Minaj and many other billion views videos. These reggaetoneros actually all originated and managed from Medellin, and it's a very interesting backstory. It was originally Nicky Jam, as many of you may know, or maybe not. Reggaeton was originally extremely popular in Puerto Rico, and you had Daddy Yankee, who was the icon, and Nicky Jam, and they were a duo until they had a feud. Daddy Yankee blew up just at the moment of the feud, and Nicky Jam pretty much fled the country and reinvented himself in Colombia, in Medellin, Colombia. Over there, he met his digital agent manager, Juan Pablo Medina, who was just, it was Juan Diego Medina, I think. I should Google it up. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. His talk in Colombia 4.0 definitely drew my attention because of it gives you an idea of how creative and hungry the country is. He was 19 years old was listening to a lot of Nicky Jam reggaeton on his home, and could only find it in pirate forms, and was surprised of how little digital presence he had. So he reached out to him and offered to be his agent, insisted until he said yes. And now when El Senor Medina and his partners have a very popular agency, Two Hearts, in Medellin, that represents old Karol G, Luis Fonsi, I think, as well, Nicky Jam, but also especially J Balvin, which has been the next breakthrough artist. You may have seen it in Fortnite, in TikTok, on Jimmy Fallon, on Hot Ones, on Jimmy Kimmel as well, I think, and doing really. He also did the music. If you have kids, maybe you may remember that song he did for SpongeBob SquarePants, the movie. He's everywhere, and that's also due to their collaboration with Scooter Braun and his team in the US, which people familiar with the music industry, of course, have heard of. But still, it originates from Medellin, and Medellin still plays a key part in the distribution and production of reggaeton at the moment around the world, and it's popular all across the globe up until Asia. Interesting segue here. If you want to check the story of Nicky Jam and Juan Diego Medina, there is a Netflix series for that. And Netflix is actually, linear media is actually the next topic at hand. If you probably all heard of the show Narcos, but after the show Narcos, Netflix was so impressed with the quality of the actors and the local talent that they have invested in a whole lot more of movies and series that you can catch on Netflix. Wild District is one I would recommend, but there are more, with the same actors that had been made popular by Narcos already on their platform. And they're investing heavily in great quality content, for be it in series form or in film format. Then, if you look at the tech ecosystem, you also have a very interesting success story over here, that he's actually creating a lot of added value to the chain. It's Rappi, they call it over here, which is a short for Rapido with two P though. It's probably to be fancy, but Rapido means fast, and it's basically the same model as Uber Eats, with an interesting backstory. Uber Eats pretty much left Colombia and retreated and admitted defeat to Rappi, which is the most popular of these apps for delivery over here in Latin America, and they even allow to pay cash on delivery, and have their system, which is Rappi Pay, where you can store cash. And that is what they are now using as a Trojan horse to try and be the WeChat of Latin America and be the super app, the equivalent of Line in Japan or WeChat in China, and be the next super app, the first super app actually of Latin America. They are employing a lot in Colombia. They are very creative, very innovative, and show that a small startup can be started from Colombia and become an international success as well. Then there is my trade, video games. So that's where I go back a little bit more about who I am and what I'm doing right now. I'm the CEO and founder of Big Karma, and Big Karma produces kick-ass video games starring kick-ass action heroes who leverage their disability to win. We are doing this inspired by my Colombian daughter, Ariana, who suffers severe disability, and we are doing this in a hybrid between the best and craziest creative people and leaders and mentors that I know from Europe, Asia, and US. So what I would call the best leadership team out of the Western world, and talents, proven talents from here in Colombia. We have two partnering studios on the project, one in Pereira, where I am at the moment, in Eje Cafetero, where the best coffee in the world comes from. So cheers to that. And they're called Adron, and they are the programming arm of the project, where in Bogota, we are hiring and working with animators and riggers who have done a lot of work for hire before for Marvel, Hasbro, so really high quality people. Actually, one of them, Felipe, if you're watching, was the first ever Latino to be Autodesk Artist of the Month and then to be nominated for Autodesk Artist of the Year. And he's a total prodigy. Graduated at 15, became a teacher at 17. And yeah, like I said, he has worked for HBO, Marvel, Hasbro, and then came back to hire his students, his hungry students, and he himself believing in the future potential of the country, which is going through a lot of transformation. And he's building his own studio and team from here, from Bogota, and we are teaming up with them for the animation of our characters under license, as they are all based on real athletes, Paralympic gold medalists, and kids doing the unbelievable, and are part of the project. So this is what we are doing, but we are not alone. 3 blocks away from here, my neighbors and my soccer, football companions every Tuesday, there is an office from Unity here. So the big 3D engine, Unity Pereira, does a lot of premium customer support for the entire continent and even some big companies in Europe. And they're pretty cool to hang out with. So if you're an engineer, that's another place where you can find a place to work if you're really, really good. And in Bogota, I have to mention our friends Alejandro and I think it's Jairo, if I remember right, from Brainz, which was the first big success story in video games and mobile games here in Colombia. Brainz exited to Jam City and became Jam City Bogota. And as far as I know, they always hire more talented people as well. So if you are looking, that's another doorway you can tap. Besides Brainz, Unity, and these bigger success stories, there are also a multitude of other studios of different sizes in all the tier 1 and tier 2 cities like Medellin. Shout out to BWS. I'm going to say it in English so that people want to Google you, they find you, my friend, Camilo. There is also in Cali, there is also efforts. I haven't heard of any studio on the coast like Cartagena or San Andres or Santa Marta. I wish there was, because it's a good beach and a good place to be, although a little bit sunny and hot. But I'm sure there must be. I heard the other day that there was something very interesting in Barranquilla. Also, a few months ago, I noticed in the Epic Mega Grants list that there was a project, and I'm sorry for them that I forgot their name. There was a project that got picked up for an Epic Mega Grant by Unreal for $1 million. So there is definitely more great video games coming from Colombia, and I'm very excited about that, especially because a few of them have a very unique take and twist and style and flavor, which is to be expected from the country that gave us magical realism. For the international audience out there, don't underestimate the Colombian market. It's not just a country you should consider for your work for hire projects or for production like I do. You should, but Garena Free Fire has also proven that, like Brazil and like many underestimated Latin American countries, Colombia can be monetized, and there is a huge audience of gamers who are willing to pay if you give them the means to. Little known fact about Garena Free Fire: they are not just a game that is playable on all devices of all specs, which is very important for this region and for many other emerging markets. Their payment SDK solutions is also very advanced, and you can pay by debit cards, by mobile billing. There are many ways you can pay to Free Fire if you don't have a credit card, which in emerging markets, 80 to 90% of people don't have a credit card. So that's a little marketing tip for those who are wondering how to sell to Colombia and whether to even bother. You might as well. It's a very young population. I think over 50% or 45% of the population is under 25 over there. They play games as much as any country in the world, which means avidly and all the time. All my taxi drivers and waiters and friends told me about this next game all the time, and a lot about Garena Free Fire. They're a big hit. But yeah, there is definitely a market to explore, not just Colombia, but Latin America at large, because you are in luck that all neighboring countries speak Spanish, except for Brazil. So you can target them with one single language, which is a huge advantage compared to Europe or Asia, for example. And as closing notes, I would say that my message to Colombian talents with experience and who want to get to the next level, reach out to us. If you are junior getting started, keep refining your crafts, do your own indie projects, participate in global game jams. Many of them are organized here as well. And don't give up. Whatever your friends, your neighbors, or your parents might be telling you, stop dreaming about video games, don't stop. There is a career to be had in Colombia, like in any other country nowadays, since the digital revolution that happened the last 10 years, especially thanks to mobile. And it's a pretty decent pay compared to standards of your country. So if you persevere, if you persist, and if you deliver quality work, eventually there are many areas in which to work. We didn't even get into the fact that there are many popular YouTubers over here and TikTokers who have millions of followers and get good brand deals. Well, you might be working for their digital team, because guess what? They're not doing everything alone. So don't give up on your dream. Keep being creative. Aim for the elite, because that might be the bad news. Entertainment is competitive and demands quality, and so there are lots of us who want to work in it, but at the end of the day, it's those who persevere, work hard, persist, and train and practice their craft until it's good enough to be published that make it into this business. And there is no magic pill and no trick or shortcut around this. But if you do put in the work, there is room for you, and there is a future for you, and there is a career for you, and you'll prove your family wrong and your daughters wrong. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to hear more about Big Karma, there's a Patreon for that, patreon.com/Big Karma, to join our community, pay for our next cup of coffee, which will be Colombian, as we've established. And muchas gracias todos. Thanks everyone for your attention. May Karma be with you. Y chao pues, epa epa Colombia.